A good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! It is! Take away! Villa in the lead!
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, John Williams. Please subscribe and give this video the thumbs up. Make sure to smash the like button. I am joined by my special guest, Aaron Thornton, who is the host of the Football Brief and a great friend of mine. And I'm joined by Scott McCurry, who is from the Homeboys podcast. I'll be doing the match preview episode. This is the Champions League pre-match talk show. Aston Villa versus Celtic. We play Celtic at Villa Park in the Champions League, which is the final game of the league phase. It is a must-win for Aston Villa, and the magnitude of this game is huge, especially for Aston Villa. It is a chance to secure top 8, and as well, in the Champions League, we need to win. Every results go our way. And for both teams, it's a big game for both teams. Also, there is rivalry at stake. The Battle of Britain, England versus Scotland. The very exciting for this game. And the disappointing draw against West Ham. Aston Villa need another good reaction. Great to have both of you on the show. Hello, both of you.
Good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. As always, it's a pleasure to be on, and good to be in the company of a Celtic fan. So good to meet you as well, Scott.
And you, buddy, and you, both of you. Really, thanks for having us. Appreciated.
It's great to be on the show, Scott.
I'm laughing at you saying that it's must win. I mean, you've already qualified. Come on, I think you're being a bit greedy.
Well, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I have a lot of respect for Celtic.
Yeah.
As a Villa fan, there are a lot of Villa fans that support Celtic.
You've got that Irishness in Birmingham as well, haven't you? That kind of connects the clubs somewhat.
Yeah.
I done a wee preview podcast with a fella called Tony Bates, an Aston Villa fan. Just finished it yesterday, and his history is he was born in Birmingham, but his father was from Jamaica, and his mum was from Ireland, and it was a great connection. Do you know what I mean? But as you say, it's an exciting game. This is what we're in football for, these big games, isn't it, man?
There's a lot of history.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of history involved. I know last week, we had Man United versus Rangers. I bet you're pleased about that, Scott.
I'll tell you right now, guys, I've no real love of any EPL team. I used to back in when I was a lot younger, but I don't really kind of deal with EPL. But Man United, does anybody like Man United? Let's be honest. But I was cheering them on the other night.
They were lucky.
Poor team, eh? Poor team.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great game, but I thought Rangers did okay, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we get into the preview, let's talk about the West Ham guy. So, Aaron, what do you make of that West Ham guy?
Again, it was one of frustration. I think Scott touched on it then. I think as Villa fans, we've been treated to a lot of great football and a lot of new standards and expectations have been set within our club since Emery's come in. So, look, a 1-1 draw, against West Ham, on the face of it, isn't always a terrible result, but I think we expect a lot more now. And I think for me, the first 20 minutes was amazing and we looked electric and we looked good. And I was like, okay, we really need to get another goal now. And when that didn't happen, there's always that feeling with Villa at the minute that other teams will get back into it. And then ultimately, I think Mings getting injured and then, having to reshuffle the back line, it just knocked us a bit. And then I think from there, West Ham grew into the game and ultimately a draw was probably fair. But again, just frustrating. Just frustrating is the word I can only think of with Villa at the minute.
So when Mings went off the pitch, it really knocked on confidence. So the big worry is, Aaron, there's not being leaders we've got in our team. And what I don't get is as well, we sold Diego Carlos. I mean, Mings being injured, you really got Bogard as a young defender. Or Ian Matson, who's got a lot of fullback. So it really worries me, those defensive issues.
Yeah, spot on. I think you make a good point about the leadership. Obviously, it's great to have Super John McGinn back. Another nice link there with our with Celtic in Scotland. Love that guy. So for him to come back was good. I think he's obviously made sure he's back ready for the big game on Wednesday, which is personal to him. But yeah, without him and Mings, we just lack that leadership. Luca Dean, I'm not going to bash him too much because he's been actually very good this season. Yeah. He's not a centre back, I think putting him there was obviously the only option we really had. Well, he could have put Kamara there, but I think in the midfield we needed someone in there. So it was just a bit of a mess. And I think, Mings going off really did affect us. So yeah, I agree with you, Chad. I think we just lacked that sort of that vocal presence on the pitch, really, to sort of organise the boys. I think Kamara was excellent again. I think he sort of showed leadership through his playing and just tenacity. But other than that, really, there was no one that stood out to me particularly. If I'm being honest, I don't want to sound super critical, but that was what I saw.
So I wouldn't be I wouldn't be a regular viewer of Aston Villa games. Watch match of the day, watch highlights and stuff. But I stuck the game on yesterday, obviously doing a wee bit of research. And Tony says to me that you guys are struggling defensively. You're kind of down to bare bones a wee bit. So no harm to Big Mings. I think he seems a lovely big guy. But I had my fingers crossed and see when he went down, I was like, off.
I said the same thing. I said, I bet Celtic fans are rubbing their hands now.
Yeah, first 20 minutes, Chad, I thought you guys, I must have sat man. The movement is outstanding. Outstanding.
Great touches.
Yeah. And it was almost, they're all playing off each other. Everybody knew boom, 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 boom. And it was great to watch. I was sitting there going, West Ham look like a dead duck. They had no chance. And it all seemed to turn to, was it Rodgers who scored the goal?
Yeah.
And then it kind of just started. And you look so fluent. You're right, the Mings thing totally unending. It almost made the team uneasy. And I don't see why, because going middle to forward, he's looked like a sensational team. At the back.
So Ramsey.
Yeah.
Ramsey was excellent.
Yeah. Good.
He accelerated the team. Gets accelerated the team forward. It was some great touches. He took his goal really well. The first 20 minutes, we were outstanding, but after that, I think we got apart the second half. So I think really though, it's a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what the time will now. The Locks and Bournemouth winning. I mean, it was a chance to get closer. to the teams above us. Great Bournemouth are 4 points clear, or something like that, I think.
Bournemouth. I mean, what a league! It's a great league, and I agree. Like we need to we needed the points to sort of keep up with that chasing pack for top 4, top 5. Which just saying that, to be fair, as a Villa fan, is crazy, isn't it? We're sat here like we need to be chasing top 4, we should be. I mean, I'm so happy that we're doing this, but I think because we've got it now, we just want it more. But I mean, you look at Bournemouth, Forest, Newcastle up there now. It's so exciting. But I agree with you; it's a missed opportunity because teams are hitting form now. So we need to really make sure that we don't
The likes of Chelsea, you got Newcastle, Bournemouth as well, Man City. What's going to happen is those teams above us are going to go in ground.
Yeah.
And also, I think I want to talk about Ramsey as well. He was one of the best players. But apart from that, I think the second half was shocking. But what I didn't like is, Aaron, we sat back, but we invited pressure on ourselves. And I don't get, when you go 1-0 up, you don't expect to sit back.
Is that a usual Emery thing? Because obviously he came in the season before last and he kind of got everything sorted. His man management is obviously excellent because he's improved all these guys that maybe yous had wrote off. And then last season you had that fantastic season, even balancing the Conference League and getting to the semis last season. But this season, like you say, there seems to be a fall off. He started the Champions League so well, and then that Monaco game, he's rubbish. And then Club Brugge was even worse. Obviously, you've got the madness of the Tyrone Mings penalty, but it's very surprising, and I think you can see the frustration in your manager just now, eh?
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think I was saying this to my wife, actually. I've sort of dragged her into football now. And, she's American, and she's just like, I've never watched football, and now she's like a massive Villa fan. But I was saying I've never seen I think Emery getting frustrated. It's the first time I've ever seen him sort of become so obviously annoyed in the media, and like you see his face on the TV and stuff, and it's like, well, yeah, he's not happy. I think players are sort of, it's the mentality. I think we're not used to being at these dizzy heights with the big boys, and there's a mentality that you need to be sort of consistent, and that's something that we're lacking at the minute. And I think that's what he's getting annoyed with. But yeah, sitting back, I don't know, Chad, is that like a usual Emery thing, do you think? I'm not too sure.
Not really, no.
No.
So we don't really do with Emery, no.
No, it's
the big worry, I think, as well. It's the whole squad, I think. You look at the likes of teams like Liverpool, the likes of Arsenal. They have bigger squads. We have a very small squad. The squad's looking really thin. But our strength in depth, it's not quite there yet. It's not there yet, I don't think.
You guys have somewhat been hamstrung with I can't even remember what it's called, the financial thing, haven't you? When I was doing the review, I couldn't believe the players you sold just to kind of go over that line. Some of your best young guys, and you've had to sell them to get that guarantee. And you remember, I can't remember the term it's called, but you know what I mean. I felt, and that leads to what you're saying there, Chad. Your best young guys are getting sold from under you, whereas they're the guys who should be coming in and propelling you almost.
Yeah. I did say as well, that in the top 20, Aston Villa are the most sustainable clubs financially.
Right.
Financially, I saw.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, but then what would you rather have? Performances on the pitch of the way up.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because, like, we got into the Champions League. You have to sell Douglas Luiz and Moussa
Yeah.
Diaby, who were like outstanding last season. And then there's already talk. Obviously, we're signing these players to new contracts. So Duran signing a new contract. In my head now, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean he's going to be there for the next 5 years. That just means if anyone wants him, you pay him more money, which then adds to our PSR balance sheet. And then again, you make a great point, Scott, as well. Like, you're selling your homegrown players because you make a profit because they don't cost anything to bring in. So whatever you sell them for, add to your profit sheet. And it's like, it just, I don't know, it just sort of sucks out the sort of, I don't know, like the not the love for football, it's a bit dramatic, but like that essence of bringing homegrown players through. It's like, it's just a bit of a weird loophole.
The innocence of football's kind of lost because, Chad, you guys are Villa fans, and there's nothing better than one of your own coming through. Do you know what I mean? We've got Callum McGregor, who's the centre of our team for years and years and years, and he'll be there for when he started. James Forrest, they're guys like that who have came through us, and it takes away the purity somewhat because it makes it just a business decision, doesn't it? It's very mechanical, and it's because when I was doing my research on you guys, and I'm looking at the guys that you've sold recently, I'm kind of going, you have got into the Champions League because you've invested, and you're almost being punished because of that investment. Madness.
Yeah.
Dortmund's crazy. You can get in the Champions League, but then you're paying the price.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
No.
The big thing that we need as well, we're desperate for a centre-back in this window, I think. Gundogan's very inexperienced. So I'll actually try and get a centre-back before the window closes.
Yeah. I think, Chad, to be fair, we sold Carlos last week. We were in talks with a guy from Sevilla, I think,
Bad, that's it, yeah.
But like last minute, I think he basically turned around and said, am I going to be starting or am I guaranteed to start? And obviously Emery was like, well, no, you're not guaranteed to start. And I think he sort of turned around and was like, I'm a bit unsure. So I think Emery was like, well, I don't want someone who's going to be unsure. So I think the person that we had ready to replace Carlos, basically that fell through, which then left us short. And then Mings gets injured, so it's like we now just look really, really short. So we have got a couple of youth players. I mean, at this point, I'm happy to try them. Like, obviously I want to get somebody in, but I think, we've got a youth squad for a reason. Sometimes you throw them in, and sometimes look at Trent Alexander-Arnold for Liverpool at the time, and you look at centre backs that have come through over the years. They have to start somewhere. So I mean, is the game against Celtic at Villa Park with a mad atmosphere the right game? I don't know, but
But the thing you say, even if the Seville guy had signed, he couldn't be registered for this game anyway. So you were kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't on that. I mean, I think the transfer window at the same time the Champions League is still going on is madness. Why?
I agree.
mean, they should have moved it 2 weeks at least. It should have started on the 14th of January, finished in the middle. And then that 2 weeks before the playoffs, we've got that space to work. You know what I mean? It's almost as if they changed different and went, there it is. And they went, oh no, we forgot about that. Do you know what I mean? Because people are unlikely to sell their guys whilst they're, because look, we've just sold Kyogo, and I'm sure we'll come to it, Chad. I know it was on your list.
Yeah.
We've just sold Kyogo, and it's going to hurt us so much.
I was buzzing about
that. see, I give you with Mings, I get it with Kyogo. That's how it works.
Also as well. Hopefully, the referee's better. The referee was appalling yesterday. You got one else? Yeah,
I've given up, mate. I don't know. I don't want to bash them anymore because I just accepted that the standard's just awful. Like, and look, there's some good performances in there from some referees in some matches, of course there is, but on the whole, it's just like this is what we have now. So what's the point in complaining about it? It's so frustrating. Like, and I look at some of these Champions League games and some of these European refs are so much better because they don't take any nonsense. It's very black and white. There's no sort of grey area. But with the Premier League refs, that's sending off for Arsenal. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but jeez.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Sorry,
We're
triggered me a bit there.
talking, but there should be better quality. They get paid a lot of money as well. Also, it's the top division, the top football.
I bet Scott disagrees with that.
You were kind of pulling me in there, guys. With regards to refereeing, it's amazing you brought it up because obviously I heard all the rules and stuff. But I'd went so one of the hosts on our show, Liam, he's an Aston Villa boy. He's a Brummie, and so I asked him, and one of the other guys he's a big Everton man as well. So I asked the guys, was the standard of refereeing in the game yesterday the usual level? Because I felt he let a lot go. A lot of stuff I was going, that's a foul. Know what I mean? And then I was thinking, is that the usual? Is it harder league? And they were going, no, this guy just had a bad game. But you're saying about so in Scotland we don't pay our refs. Oh wait, sorry, we pay our refs, but they're not full time. So whilst I can get you guys your frustration because they're professionals, so they deserve the criticism. In our league, the referees are a constant talking point. Obviously, because Rangers are struggling, everybody's against him. It's a conspiracy, and every ref's a Catholic, and all this madness, right? So we've kind of got all that just now. But the standard of refereeing is generally rubbish, and I think VAR has made it worse for them because VAR's became more of a talking point than a debatable offside, which is wild. It was supposed to help it. I think I used to coach in amateur football, and it got to the point that you preferred a guy who was so strict with the rules, no matter what. Like if you walk on the pitch before your sub comes off, you get yellow carded, stuff like that. Because see, with they guys, you knew exactly what was going to happen. Whereas a guy gets sent off for that this week, next week your guy doesn't. But I think every fan in the world would argue about refs.
Well, VAR is there to clear obvious errors. I think it should be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it might end up tangent.
I think Chad, they're using it as a crutch. I think they're kind of they're shying away from big decisions on the kind of thinking VAR will get it. And you're kind of going, that's not what you're paid for. You're paid here to keep this game going and flowing. I hate VAR. I think VAR's stinking.
Agreed.
So what Celtic then?
Yes.
So Scott, what do you expect from the Celtic game?
I'm not confident, guys. Right? Tony yesterday made me feel a lot better about the situation. But even after watching, so I went back and watched all of the highlights, which, and you know yourselves, highlights tell you nothing. They don't tell you about the play. But I'm watching the games. The big thing that stood out for me was you guys give up a fair few chances. Defensively, you don't look great. Attack-wise, at times you can be unbelievable. Yeah. Now, had we still had Kyogo, had we had Maeda, I would be sitting going, we could do something. Like you just said, Dan, see that keep in it for the first, that small club mentality of if we can keep into this, into the second half, maybe 1-0 down, maybe 0-0-1 each, then there'll be an opportunity there for us. But I just feel we won't have enough going forward to trouble you guys. The Tyrone Mings thing coming out is great because we've actually got a bit of height in our defence. Mm-hmm. I mean, what height is he? 18'7" or something? Do you know what I mean? He's the biggest guy I've ever seen. You know what I mean? So, my
set pieces.
hope for the game is everybody gets caught up in the atmosphere, because I reckon the atmosphere will be wild. You guys are notable for your good atmosphere, and then we'll make a lot of noise, I know for that. And my hope is everybody gets caught up in it, and it maybe gets a wee bit scrappy, and the flowing football kind of breaks down.
Yeah.
And it's mad as a Celtic fan who week on week we've got 70% possession, whatever, to come down and be the small guys. Do you know what I mean? Because last time that happened, Dortmund stuck 7 by us. So I'm a bit nervous with it. If you guys play to your level, I worry. But
Yeah.
my hope is we make it a contest to a point that maybe I would, as you said earlier on, Chad, a draw really does nobody, does it? A draw just, do you know what I mean? And you guys are aiming for the top. We're aiming to get seeded. Do you know what I mean? It's somewhat of a free hit for us. But I'm not overly positive. But I do use negativity as a protection for myself, to be honest.
We all do.
I was winning. We need to rely on the results to go our way. So even if we get a win, it don't guarantee it. So we need to get the job done to make results go our way as well.
I would think a win takes shoes. A win against us on Wednesday. I reckon it would. I know it's not, you can't say it for definite, but I'm looking at this table and I think, because a lot of teams will cut each other's throats, I think you guys will be in top 8.
The more thing as well, it's going to be a difficult game, a difficult battle. The thing is with Villa, we've got the pressure on us to get a result.
Mm-hmm.
Being the home team, and the circumstances are so important. And it's a derby. England versus Scotland. There's a good lot of fire to it.
I laugh at you call it a derby. I mean, I was looking at your team yesterday. You had 5 Englishmen starting. We had 2. Yeah. We had 2 Scots guys starting their last game. So, I mean, it could be a derby for Italians versus Swedish and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? The amount of what we've got in our teams now. But yeah. I mean, the pressure is on you guys. There's no hiding away from that. When an EPL team plays a Scotland team, and I'm going to say this, and you might not, but there is that arrogance of the English league. I mean, we see it oft times. I mean, like, if you go and listen to TalkSport and they 2 tubes, what's their names? Ahara and Cundy, you know what I mean? Yeah. Talking absolute garbage week on week, trying to get people to phone up. But it's at home. You guys, after last season, how you started this Champions League, because there was a point after 3 games, you guys were getting talked about dark horses. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the pressure is on you, and the pressure's off us a lot. Our fans are going to be doing. There's a wee bit of turmoil. Aaron, we spoke about it slightly there about Kyogo leaving, which is massive for us, because Kyogo, we fell in love with this wee guy. Honestly, Chad, I don't know if you know anything about him. We fell in love with this guy. He was a smashing wee player. He was what. He misses in his latter days. He misses a lot of chances, so he's kind of his own stock is somewhat dipped.
Yeah.
But we loved him. We fell in love with the wee guy. He plays on the shoulder of the defender. He can do wonderful things. He always scored against Rangers, it seemed, which is, you know yourselves, has good times. So for him to be leaving is a blow, but we seem to be in a good place to replace him for the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, so this game, I would love to have had him for this game, but if we don't have him, and in actual fact, playing Adam Ida in the game might suit us better, because he's going to have to come back and do the doggies and win the headers and stuff like that, because I do expect us to be doing a lot of defending.
So we need to be a lot better. We get to West Ham. We need to be a lot better for this guy.
Yeah.
You have to step it up. But Scott, a bit like my green top I've got on.
I do it. I love that, mate.
Yeah, Celtic colours.
Good lad. Good lad. Is that you? Are you becoming one of us? You becoming one of us, mate?
No chance. Also, even the Scottish Premiership is also different to the Premier League. But with Celtic, we shouldn't underestimate them.
See, the frustrating thing, Chad, see for me, myself, dominance of one team in anything is bad. It is bad, right? It's bad in basketball, it's bad in American football, it's certainly bad in football. You guys have kind of coming through it with the Man City thing, and we've got it in Scotland, but obviously it's my team. Now, you guys are football fans. Do I want my team to lose? Absolutely not. I want to win absolutely every game we get involved, same as you guys. But the dichotomy of a one-team league as it is just now is bad, and I get that. So what Celtic have to do is we have to use Europe, and we're paying so Brendan Rodgers, obviously he's kind of well known in the English league. Some people laugh at him, some people rate him. It didn't finish. It didn't finish well for him.
The wicked Roger. Brendan Rodgers.
It's funny because you remember the story about him leaving to go to Leicester last time. I mean, I'd to tell you a wee quick story. I'd come back. It was my 40th that year, and I took 30 guys to Germany for a weekend, and we were on a drink for 4 days. Yeah. And we come back that weekend, and Brendan Rodgers left us, and we'd been singing about him all weekend. And I was sitting, I was devastated. But he's came back. He raises the standard of our club. The professionalism, the standard of player, everything rises with him. I mean, we're looking to get Kieran Tierney back, which is a massive,
I saw that.
Move. I mean, the only doubt about KT is his injuries. And then today we've just sealed Jota coming back, and two great moves for us. Shame we can't get them for Wednesday. But there's a standard of Celtic that we have to kind of reach, and getting into the Champions League is hard because I was in Dortmund when the goals just kept going in, and you guys know yourself. I'm sure you've been through it when you get relegated and stuff like that. It's hard watching your team get beaten. I mean, no matter how much you want to stand firm with them, watching the goal, boom, boom. I was like, so like I say, see if Celtic can come down to your guys on Wednesday and challenges and make it hard and make it a game of football that we can all really enjoy. Then our job's done because like the playoff was our aim. We've hit our target.
And Celtic as well. We could get exposed with a high line. With Celtic, they're very good at the counter. I didn't really know about Celtic. When they're pressing intensity, they're not defensive positioning and combination play. I think Celtic could punish us. The way you play the whole way, potentially.
What's your thinking on that,
Aaron? I mean, firstly, I've got to say, I mean, I'm slightly conflicted. So I'm actually a quarter Scottish myself, granddad. From in terms of the whole England Scotland thing, like
I can tell by your accent.
You know what I mean? So I actually, if there are such things as second team, my second team is Ayr United, the Honest Men. So I follow them.
Yeah, right, okay. Scott Brown, good man.
Scott Brown, yeah, nice little link there. When the fixture got released, when the Champions League fixtures were released, like this game, I mean, we spoke about Monaco last week, and Celtic for me, I think there's 3 points we need to remember with Celtic at the minute, which could make it a hard game. The history, you guys are Champions League. You're always in the Champions League, right? So you've got experience. I think Brendan Rodgers, having him is massive. He knows how to work Premier League teams. He knows how to manage against them. And thirdly, you guys have had a week's rest, which goes for a lot against. We look leggy. Look at Morgan Rodgers. Second half of games, he's not the same player he is in the first half.
A rest.
Yeah, exactly. He does. So I think there is that against us. I do think what I love about these Champions League games is they're all one-off games. I mean, we beat Bayern Munich, and yes, you lost to Dortmund, but I know I didn't realize actually your Champions League form. I think you've won 3, drew 3, lost 1. That's really good. And in that you beat Leipzig. You drew with Atalanta, Atalanta are slapping everybody at the minute. So I think there's some context needed for Celtic in this current campaign with Champions League. I don't think you're going to be pushovers, and these one-off games, you actually have a slim. If you win, and like weird results go your way, you could even be in the top 8. Like
we're not talking about that.
So there's a lot to play for. So I think and Chad makes a good point. Villa's that we do play a very high line. I don't know. I think if you still had your man Kyogo, I think he would exploit that. I know James Forrest.
Aaron, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's a shame we're missing Maeda. Because,
not for us, it's not.
No, definitely not for you. It's a shame we're missing Maeda because I would argue that you've not seen a guy like Maeda in a good while. I would like to try and think who would be a good comparison, because in my lifetime of watching football, I've never seen a guy who works so hard in a game, like constantly. The goals we've scored just because he closes down defenders and it bounces off him, it's madness. And don't get me wrong, this guy isn't like a flow, and he's not going to get the ball and beat 5 players and stuff like that.
No.
But just his work rate alone, coming back to Chad's point about the high line, that would be great for us. The frustrating thing is we've lost James Forrest has been out long term. Maeda's suspended, and Kyogo, we've sold Kyogo. So then Adam Ida's your automatic return, and Adam Ida's a big, burly centre forward.
Wasn't he at Watford? Was he at Watford? He was
at Norwich.
Norwich.
We got him from Norwich. And I really like the boy, but he's not having a great time about it. Because we've spent Celtic-wise, I know it's funny, again, to go on a wee tangent to come back. I done a preview, Chad, with a Bayer Leverkusen fan.
Oh, okay.
And he said to me, yeah, we've signed this guy. He only cost 15 million. He's a bit of potential. And I'm sitting laughing. I'm going, 15 million to Celtic would be a record transfer, you know? So we've spent an outlay of 9 million on Adam Ida. For you guys, 9 million's potential. But for us, we kind of need the guys to hit the ground running. To come back to your point, Chad, if we had the pace and we had Real Hatate playing how he can, it's a definite opportunity to get in behind and attack that way. I have my doubts about it, but you never know. There's a young guy called Yang who plays wide, and he splits the Celtic support. Some think he's got so much potential. Others think he is the biggest useless guy that's ever wore a Celtic jersey. So you've kind of got that. But he's never really done it for us. However talented he is, he's never really... I mean, he scored 2 goals, I think, in a year and a half. It's no great. But it looks like he might be starting. Or we might be starting a midfield guy wide. We're losing the things that makes us against you guys, which is where my doubts come from. Because... But I don't know. As I say, we've still got to quieten your guys down. The midfield should be a great battle. I think the midfield will be really interesting because Tielemans is a great A. Tielemans is a phenomenal player.
Unbelievable.
Am I right in thinking Kamara's suspended? Is that correct, or is he playing?
I don't know.
That made that up.
I thought he was playing. There is...
Who's suspended?
Let's check.
Maybe No, I think I've made it up. I'll see.
No, I don't think he's suspended.
He was hoping that would be the case.
I was hoping. I was trying to get him suspended just now. But I think the midfield battle will be really good. I mean, like, I don't know if John McGinn will come back in. What do you think? You definitely, yeah.
John
John McGinn, Callum McGregor. Woohoo!
And so, Scott.
Yes.
So, what tactics should Villa expect against Villa?
It's a very, see, right now it's a hard question, because if we didn't have the guys missing, I could tell you exactly, right? So Brendan Rodgers, so we obviously had Ange, who is having his struggles just now. So we had Ange, and you've watched Ange, and it's we need to play the game up there as quick as we can. I don't want you. I mean, there's a famous one, and a Celtic player played the ball back, and he stood in the side and went, "Don't play the effing ball back." You know what I mean? But Rodgers likes a more possession-based game. He likes to control the ball. He likes us having the ball. And obviously in Scotland, we have the vast majority of the ball, so we can play that game. However, we try to play that game against Dortmund, and every time we lost the ball, we get punished. Boom, boom, boom. So then we went to Atalanta, which you spoke about a second ago, and see Atalanta, we threw everything out the window. We basically ceded possession, we worked hard, and we tried to hit in a counter-attack, which I think will be the case. Our midfield needs to turn up. Now, we've got a midfield of Real Hatate, Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels, Paulo Bernardo, and Luke McCowan. That's the 5 guys, and 3 of them will start. McGregor, definite. I think Real will definitely start. And then it becomes Bernardo and Engels. And I think Engels will start. So we'll look to control the ball, which is super hard against the guys that I've mentioned in your team. So I think that's where the battle is, Chad, right? We will try to hit in the counter. How much we go for it initially, I don't know. I think you might see us cede the ball to work back.
You know what I think?
This is based on Atalanta.
So only strategic. The Celtic are very strategic. Pressing team. And you know the opposition. More passes. And defensive action. And what Celtic want to do as well. They want to play through the middle with the 3 balls. They want to effective combination play using the wide areas as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget as well, I know Tielemans, obviously Brendan Rodgers knows Tielemans well from his days at Leicester. I do think you'll see, because one of our biggest strengths is playing through the line. So Tielemans, I mean, you saw against West Ham, there was 2 or 3 passes that he just splits. He just splits the defence in the midfield. I do think Rodgers will be pretty acute to that, and will try and cut those. I reckon you'll see a couple of players potentially doubling up on him, or just to make sure that those channels are blocked. I do think for these one-off games, I do think, look, this is Brendan Rodgers, who was once touted for the England manager's job, who was at Liverpool. Like, I do think a lot of his tactics, and he knows Villa well, and he would have been watching the games. I think our defense is shaky, and I think our midfield is where we're going to try and do a lot of damage. So I think we're quite cute on the ball, but I think if your players get into us and get a bit nasty, a bit aggressive, you show a bit. I think that could be a really interesting battle, like you were saying, Scott. So I agree there.
Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers is a very underrated manager.
I think so.
Mega interesting what you said about Tielemans there, Aaron, because I never thought about it like that. And that leads me to think that Bernardo would start then, because Bernardo's got more of a dig in him, more kind of would lay it in. We are a very lightweight team in terms of we are not really. We get so bullied off of young boys, and you guys done your job against them there. We get bullied off of young boys there the other week. But to come back to your point, Chad, about Brendan Rodgers, right? See this game on Wednesday. This is Brendan Rodgers' bread and butter. This is what he loves. Brendan Rodgers is almost a psychopath, right? You've heard some of the rubbish he talks. He comes out with some of the worst quotes you'll ever hear, and he very much pat myself in the back kind of guy. But as you rightly said, he knows what he's doing. He's a good coach. He's a very good coach, if not better. And this is what he'll have looked at this game at the beginning and went, see if I can lay a mark on these guys.
See, that surprises me, Scott. Sorry, Chad. Because you just said then that you're quite, you got bullied by young boys. Yeah. My perception of Celtic, especially growing up as a kid and, seeing you guys, like, you've always been a good team, but like, you're quite I don't want to like disrespect saying you're rough, but you've got play, you're known for being, like a hard team to play against because you're just physical. You look at Scott Brown, the Roy Keanes. Yeah. Like, does that like, does that annoy you a bit?
I mean, I'm not going to challenge your age here, Aaron, or nothing like that, but under Martin O'Neill, you guys had Martin O'Neill. You know what Martin O'Neill was like. Give me big defenders, give me good midfielders, give me a hard-working team. And Brendan Rodgers built us a team of giants. And Martin O'Neill built us. And then with Gordon Strachan, his team it was a hard-working team with quality and about guys like Nakamura and stuff like that. But then Ans turned up and he bought us a whole load of guys from Japan, South Korea. And it was more about what you're doing with the ball. I mean, it's not about winning the second balls and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. We've just signed Aaron Trusty for Sheffield United. I think he's 6'3" or 4. We've got a 6 foot centre half in Carter Vickers. Right? And the reason I don't think he'll ever go down to England again is because he's height, though. Because, I mean, you go and look in the English league, it's just land of the giants, isn't it, really? Muscular, physical specimens. And we don't have it. Greg Taylor's very slight. Callum McGregor's very slight. Luke McCowan, Rio Hattati. We are a slight team. Do you know what I mean? And if it does come down to the physical side, we generally don't pony up well on it, to be honest. It's right what you're saying about Scott Brown, but we kind of swap Scott Brown's aggression and determination for Callum McGregor, more finesse. Do you know what I mean? So he plays. Yeah, I mean, Callum McGregor on his day is a fantastic player. It seems to be, if you can stop him playing, you win the game. Because that's what Rangers done. And Rangers battered us at New Year there. Battered us.
And also, Scott, what Celtic do as well, give their left back. They use the left back as another midfielder. Celtic seem to do that. Look at the 6.
Chad, it bloody frustrates me, right? So when we done that under Ange, and it kind of accentuated us up the park. Basically meaning that if you were breaking through, you had this almost a secure, you'd somebody else in midfield. But I think our midfield's got better, that we're actually suffering down the left-hand side. Down the left-hand side generally when Maeda plays. So you've got that big bag of energy. But I feel like, so we had a guy called Palmer who'll be on the bench, Lewis Palmer, a very talented football player, just cannot run. So he almost missed an overlapping fullback to take guys away. So, I mean, it works a lot. I always remember watching an interview with Schweinsteiger, and he was talking about midfielders coming in, the fullbacks coming in, and he's like, I'm one of the greatest midfielders in the world. Give me my space. Do you know what I mean? And I can just imagine, you're a fullback. But we definitely do that. I mean, and it allows Alistair Johnson to overlap on the right hand side. But that's observant, well done, mate.
And Scott, as Celtic players, who would you say is your best players?
Right. So right now, by the way, we've spoken. I've not even mentioned Nicholas Kuhn. Right. So right now, we've got to pick our best player this season. I could say Kasper Schmeichel. Kasper Schmeichel has been immense for us, especially when we got. especially when we got Joe Hart, and Joe Hart being the England darling, do you know what I mean? He come up to Scotland and be like, this guy. But we all fell in love with him. He fell in love with us. So
Not from
then
us.
you get Casper.
He played for Blues, so we don't like him.
Well, that's it. Fair dues. Okay, I'll give you that one. So then Casper Schmeichel turns up, and you don't know. You think it's a kind of old boys. He played with Brendan, but he's been immense. He's been really good. Beginning defence, Carter Vickers. If Carter Vickers doesn't play, Celtic don't play. He's so composed at the back.
Really?
He's so composed. We absolutely love the guy. Love him. But right now, Nicholas Kuhn is our best player. Even Cal McGregor's not having a great season by his standard, still having a good season. But Nicholas Kuhn, we got the guys last January to the point he was that poor. He kept turning back, wouldn't beat anybody. We're like, there's this guy, 2 million. And this season he's been unbelievable. To the point, I've got German friends and they've all been talking about him. They're saying there's rumours he might be kind of pushing the German squad, which I'd be amazed about. But Nicholas Kuhn, and he's got a bit of pace that goes right back to your original chat, Chad. So he could be the outlet. I would be mega surprised if Unai Emery doesn't have him secure. But again, you never know. But I would say Nicholas Kuhn to answer your question, Chad.
Going back to Cosmas Michael.
Yeah.
He's a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
And always in a game. He always makes much winning sides. I like his attitude.
Yeah, he's like I said, I have my doubts about him because of his age. Why was he leaving Anderlecht at 37? Why was he? Do you know what I mean? Is this the kind of on the downturn? But he came in this season, and as you said, he's making big saves. He looks like a character who controls the defence. He likes the ball at his feet, which nowadays, as well, you guys know, hugely important. And you trust him, and you trust him. I was talking to Tony, and he says he thinks Martinez is the best goalkeeper he's ever seen at Aston Villa. And considering you guys had Mark Bosnich, who was unbelievable, see when you've got something that good and then you lose it and you get somebody who's maybe average or pretty poor, it's so noticeable, isn't it? It's so noticeable. A good goalkeeper's worth the weight in gold.
Well, I think having a especially in this day and age, like you just said, then like goalkeepers have to play with their feet now because they're part of the build-up play, they're part of the transition and stuff. And I think with us, Martinez, like having somebody, it just means if the ball does go through defense, it's like, okay, well, we've got another line there. Like you sort of trust him. You think, okay, there's a good chance he's going to save it or stop it.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have a goalkeeper of that like level, you start thinking, oh no, like he's not a good shot stopper, or he's not great with his feet, So I think Schmeichel for you is just assurance, isn't it? And it's just nice to know that at least you're covered in that area, which is a tough area of the pitch.
And Schmeichel, he won the FA Cup with Leicester City.
Yeah. He won the league with Leicester City as well.
And the league, yeah. And the Premier League, yeah. Yeah, and the Community Shield.
I've got a question for Scott. Just so, like, from a Villa point of view, and I know Chad touched on it earlier. Like, there's a big sort of mutual respect for Celtic, and I think looking over the years, you look at the likes of Martin O'Neill, Sean Maloney, Petrov, Scott Sinclair, John McGinn loosely. Like, is there a feel like that with you boys, or do you just want to come to England and just smash us up? Like, or is there sort of like, obviously you want to win, but like, from a football point of view, is there a bit of a respect there from over the years? Or
honestly, I'm right. In general, I would say no, there wouldn't be. You get guys like me, right? So I'm 45, and I remember the English Premier League starting, and Aston Villa were challenging for the league, and Aston Villa were challenging for cups, and they won the League Cup. What was it, '93 against Leeds, and you guys, a huge club. I mean, I always remember all the FA Cup semi-finals were at your ground because it was a proper massive old ground. Do you know what I mean? So for guys like me, I hold Aston Villa up there. It's funny, isn't it? Because see the big clubs when you were wee, they remain big clubs forever. Because we all remember Parma. Parma are a wee dinky team, but see because they were good in the Serie A, we are Parma, a good team. So for guys like me and football fans, there is a total respect for Aston Villa. Do you know what I mean? You ringed off some heroes there, but you never mentioned Tony Cascarino.
No,
forget that guy.
big one. That's my age.
But no, there is a respect. I mean, you guys aren't seen as the enemy in terms of Man City. Like Man United, Liverpool, they get the respect. They're the biggest clubs in it. And then you've got teams like Chelsea, and you've got Chelsea fans talking down to Celtic fans. You're kind of going, where have yous been? I mean, yous are just a wee club until a Russian oligarch turned up. You know what I mean? It's peace. Whereas Aston Villa, and I was delighted when I was talking to Tony about you guys, and he was saying that you guys all seem to be in a good place now. Yous are kind of, you don't know whether to stand your ground and then go or go just now, but you seem to be happy with your owner, you seem to be happy with your fans, you're happy with the manager. That's mad. Seeing you get that all together. It sounds like you've got a great base to go and take that next step. But no, to answer your question, there is a respect, a definite respect for Aston Villa as a legacy club, as a proper big club. And that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Well, Villa and Celtic, they're both big clubs. Let's see them both as big clubs. So, respected.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you Chad, you travel around the world, you ask people about the clubs, and in general, football fans know about us guys. They know about you guys. But we're in a TikTok generation where the last somebody, what would you do if your team went and they just support somebody? Just for football purists like me, maybe.
So Scott,
yeah.
I'm going towards the end of the podcast. And about 2 more points before we finish. So first of all, why are Celtic such a big club as well?
So the thing that makes Celtic, right? So you've got the see, I'm biased, of course, and I could probably keep you on here for another hour, Chad, talking about Celtic and how we're the biggest club in the world. But because of the Irishness and then the Scottish and the Irish diaspora and stuff like that, we are kind of well known. The fact what we done in Lisbon in 1967 is edged on a lot of people's memories. We were the first team, and we done that. And people around Europe were talking about us. There's a great story that we were invited to go and play. We were champions of Europe, and we were invited to go and play against Real Madrid. And it was supposed to be a showcase for Real Madrid for a testimonial. My mind's away from his name. But we ended up beating them 1-0, and the whole Bernabeu was all cheering Celtic's name and carrying us around. And there's just a wee bit of glamour. One of our greatest managers, Billy McNeil, who you guys have heard of, Billy McNeil, he said there's something magical about Celtic. And I think that sums up Celtic. Celtic's got a bit of magic about it.
And Celtic, they're well known around the world. They've got a very big following. And what I like about it as well, they won the European Cup. Just like Aston Villa. You did it in 67. We won it in 1982. And so there are some similarities. And also, like Australia, we have Villa Park. You have Celtic Park.
Yeah.
Celtic Park. Yeah. So there is a lot of that.
Definitely. I mean, European Cup wins, they kind of make you special. I mean, remember Jose Mourinho says, I am a special one. Same about us, guys. Same about us. We've got a star on it for a reason. You know what I mean? But it was Alfredo Di Stefano's testimonial, just in case, because I know some people can be rude if I forget things.
And Celtic as well. as well as Scottish people, there's a big Irish contingent, because of religion as well, as Catholics.
Yeah.
as
I'd
well.
like Chad. A lot of Celtic fans don't because I think the religion side on both Celtic and Rangers has dissipated a hell of a lot, since I was a kid anyway. Because well, you know yourself, in general, the vast majority of people are less religious than they used to be, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But I mean, but Celtic Rangers still hate each other, obviously. So it's not a do. But yeah, the Irishness. It's great to see a club embrace their history. This is what we've got. You guys have got a Scottish history, of course, with your man Ramsey and stuff like that. And when I was doing my research, the importance of Aston Villa in English football and in football in general can't be undenied either. That's also a thing that makes Aston Villa hugely massive, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Because you guys that started the game.
William McGregor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's all wants William McGregor.
Sounds like a Rangers fan, but I don't know. Saying that, would Rangers been about when you started? What years did you start?
1874.
1874.
1874.
74.
So Rangers won a boot, so he gets a pass. He gets a pass.
We both hate teams that are in blue. So
The Football League was founded in 1898.
That was us. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else happened that year.
12 goals, yeah, I didn't think of that. So, Scott, before we finish, I've got one more question. So, the Scottish Premiership. How would you describe the Scottish Premiership? How would you describe it?
good
Describe
question.
the
Chad.
Scottish. So you broke up there a bit. Are you asking me to describe the Scottish Premiership?
Yeah, but how would you describe it?
Oh, what a question that is, man!
That's a great question, that is, Chad.
Jeez. Right. I mean, describe it. That's a hard one. Right.
Can I add on to that, Chad? Can I say, and also after that, do you think Celtic could compete in the Premier League? But answer Chad's first.
That's a good
Right,
one.
okay. So the Scottish League is certainly, it's a lot more effort and a lot more running than skill and standard. You've got us with this wealth at the top. You've got Rangers with a fair bit of wealth, and then you've got disparity all the way down. And it's quite a shame. I get frustrated in Scotland because we try to copy your league a bit too much. And yous have got all this wealth and all this. And I always think that we should we should be looking to get guys who can't afford to come to your league. Do you know what I mean? People who want it. That's what I always think. And I think we should be looking to fill our grounds and make it cheap, make it fun and stuff like that. Because let's be honest with it, the English League, the expense is going bonkers. But I like the Scottish League. I do like the Scottish League. Of course, it's tedium. It needs review. It needs all the fans to come together and tell the authorities what we want, and then it takes them to make it better for us. It's not perfect. The football's sometimes garbage, but so is every league. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. There's my summarisation of the Scottish football. It's not perfect.
That's good, this. The Scottish Premiership, you've got Celtic and Rangers. It's always between them two. So what do you make of that?
It just comes down to money, Chad. Plain and simple. You know yourself. Look at Man City. If you've got the money, generally you'll win, right? And that's the case. And we're at a point where Celtic should be winning. Fact. Yeah. Right? It's not. That's not any ignorance or arrogance. We've got more money. We should be winning. Simple as that. I would love Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts to pick up themselves and come at us, but there seems to be a want of we should weaken to make them better. But that means we all go down instead of us all going up. But and what was your second question there, because I had an answer for that.
I was going to say, like, if Celtic were ever to come into the Premier League, like,
Right,
where do you think you'd finish?
I believe. Before, I think Celtic would have been with the current team we've got now, would probably mid-table, lower half, maybe in the relegation fight.
Mid-table, I think.
Mid-table, I think, right. But in the past, say 10 years ago, I would have been confident that over 3-4 years, Celtic would get the investment. We've got the support. I think we would grow and grow and grow. However, because the way English football's went just now, you really need backed by a country in the Middle East to actually compete. Do you know what I mean? And like I'm saying, Aston Villa's a giant club, but it doesn't matter if you're giant. If you've got a guy who's going to give you 500 billion, I mean, that's where we're at, isn't it? So I think Celtic would be a fine addition to the English Premiership. I don't ever see it happening. And if Celtic join England, I wouldn't go and support them.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think you'd do well. I think if Celtic were in the Premier League, I think you'd get bought out by some tycoon because of your prestige and your history, and they'd be like, "Wow, Celtic," and then you go on. Yeah.
Does interest what that was. So before we finish, I want to get a score prediction. So Scott, what do you predict?
Okay, here's my heart. My heart says Celtic sneak a 2-1. Right, that's my heart speaking. But fortunately, for most times, it's my head that does the thinking for me. I think Celtic will get beat 3-1. I think it'll be a good game. I think you guys will be edging it, and we'll be pushing, and you guys will pick us off. And say about the 85th minute, boom, and that'll be the game done. That's my thinking.
I'm gonna go.
That's where my heart wins.
I'm gonna go 2-1 to Villa.
That's a.
No,
I agree. I think back to Scott's point earlier. Look, not in an arrogant way. Like, we should beat Celtic. Because if you're looking at money, looking at team invested, the money invested in the squad, like, we should. And that's not saying that I respect Celtic, but I think 2-1 is a fair result. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet because we never do. I think set pieces could be quite good for you boys if you utilise them properly. So 2-1, Villa.
Well, I really enjoyed this chat.
So have I, mate. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
One of my most favourite episodes I've done.
How nice is that? That's Guy.
Some good insight, some really good insight and stuff I didn't know before. So yeah, thanks, Scott.
Well, thank you, Scott. You're a great guest. I really been a great guest as well.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to hit the like button. Give it a share. Make sure to give us a good review on all your platforms. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much. Aaron and Scott for your time. We're going to wrap up this episode with Villa Forever and Up the Villa.